Jodie Foster also plays Clarice Starling in Hannibal. And who is Clarice is a very intelligent FBI agent who has been hunting and studying Hannibal Lecter for a long time. She's an authority on his subject. She studied him extensively. She knows about psychology. She knows about the criminology behind his work. So she's possesses keen intellect to the point where she's able to cut him off and nearly capture him several times. And I think, does it result in his capture? Or I think he might escape. But mainly due to the incompetence or the obstruction of other bumbling male characters that go and defy that impede her progress in being able to capture the serial killer. I personally thought that she was a really good actress that conveyed a lot of strength in those movies. Nancy Thompson, there is the character who defeats Freddy Krueger in The Nightmare on Elm Street. Hello, is that Tron? Hello, Tron. How are you doing? Good to see you. Nancy Thompson is the original target of Freddy Krueger in A Nightmare of Elm Street, and she is the heroine of the story. And she's she's brought back in several, like I think she's in the first, and then she's in the Wes Craven's A New Nightmare. I think she's in 2 installments of the film franchise. Now Vince might be able to. He's much more of an authority on Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay, let me finish this thought, and we'll get right to that. Okay, I'll be right with you in the radio. Okay, one second, Toe. So Nancy defeats this man who supposedly can't be killed in this nightmare world. She's the one that devises the plan to capture him and bring him out of his dream world and harm him in the real world to banish him back to hell. And in both incarnations, she faces her fear and fights this serial killer this dream terrorist that keeps coming after her time and time again. So those were just some of the examples that I named, and I've provided a pretty substantial list of characters, and it's the reasons why their various human qualities and various human characteristics make them important and make them special and make them strong. So it doesn't necessarily have to be physical strength. It could be intellect, it could be charm, it could be just their decent human kindness that makes them a strong character. Okay, so we've provided examples of why necessarily that the popular narrative that it's specifically targeting females is not necessarily the case, and it can't necessarily be sexism, and that these claims made by Anita Sarkeesian seem to exemplify more so an individual that is cherry picking and pigeonholing an issue and cherry picking topics or not topics, cherry picking evidence to confirm her own biased opinion. So we have a caller on the line, and I'm assuming this is Tron. I'm going to turn on Discord. So this is our first live caller. Hopefully we don't experience technical difficulties. Let's go ahead and give him the intro again, Toe, if you will. Just sit here in awkward silence, waiting.
Okay, next up is Tron.
Hello, welcome, Tron. What is your question? Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me on. I guess my main question for you is how do you view... Thanks, yeah. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you, yeah, I'm listening.
All right, cool. My question is for you guys is, how do you view women in like things like rap videos, or even just the rap community in general, women rappers, things like that?
I'm greatly... Tron, thank you for calling in. I'm glad you asked that question. If you guys remember, there was a Nelly video that featured... I forgot what song it was, but there were in this specific music video, he takes a credit card and he swipes it down one of the girls' butt cracks. Now, the women in this video were worked at the local strip club. That's where they actually hired these women for the video for. And this is just an example of of people that allege sexism that these males were perpetrating against these females in this rap video. It's a very graphic rap video. If you haven't seen it, the women were wearing next to no clothing and very little, if any. And as I said, that was an example of what he did. They were throwing women or throwing money at women, throwing it at their faces, putting it on their bottoms, their rear ends, their booty, whatever you want to call it, perpetuating this idea that this lack of respect and this lack of appreciation for not just the female form but the dignity of a woman. These are allegations. I'm not saying this is what I feel. These are allegations that people made. They said that it was inappropriate for him to do, especially the credit card swipe, to treating her no more. So it wasn't just that they were throwing money at her. She then became an electronic device to swipe a credit card, because he swiped the credit card in her bum. And this was seen as very offensive. And if you remember, Nelly's music came under fire, and a lot of women's rights advocates said that this was very sexist, and they went and burned a CD, and they promoted that. They said that this is wrong. Now, if you're asking for my opinion on this, would I say is that sexist? Now, based on what I know about Nelly and about some of these guys in rap culture, I would say that these men were raised by women. I will say that Nelly individually in this circumstance, he actually has a sister. I can say without a doubt that man loves his sister. I'm not a Nelly fan. I don't personally like his music. That man loves his sister. If you know anything about their history, she went through, I think it was leukemia? Or she had cancer therapy or something like that. She lost her hair and she had to go through chemo, and I think she eventually passed away from it. And that ordeal was really hard for him. And he supported his sister, and he took care of her when his parents could not. So despite the fact that he swiped a credit card down this woman's butt and it objectified her, I know he cares about women. I know he cares about his sister, and I know he cares about his mom or women in general. Now, was that action sexist? I would say that yes, it objectified that woman. However, it's alleged that woman gave him consent, and it was even her idea to do that. Hey, take the credit card and swipe it down my butt crack. So that is an example of people not knowing the full story and making a predisposition based on not having a biased opinion about an instance that didn't have all the facts. So here you have these women's rights advocates saying that saying that it was wrong to do that. It was wrong to do that. You objectified these females. It's so horrible. But this is what I was talking about earlier. There is a certain amount of accountability that I think goes on both sides. Was it sexist? Now, what is sexism? You could say, the over objectification of a woman. Were these women oppressed? No, they had their own free will to do that. They were paid for their services. Does it make it okay to mistreat them? It was consensually done between two consenting adults. Allegedly, it was the woman's idea, and she consented to it. I don't find that sexist in that instance. Now, you have to take this case by case. Not every circumstance will be that way. If you remember correctly, Tupac was to have allegedly sodomized a young female individual, groupie or roadie or whatever. I don't know if she was part of any one of their music videos, but he actually had to go to court because he allegedly had sodomized this young female against her will. Is that sexist? Well, I don't know that. He was seen to. I don't know if he settled out of court. I actually don't know the outcome of that court trial. As far as I know, he was acquitted of the charges, or they settled out of court. Now, if they settled out of court, that is between him and that person that settled out of court. And again, this goes on a case by case basis. So, unless it was if it was not between two consenting adults, and she was not okay with that, then I would say that obviously that's sexism, and that was violence perpetrated against a woman that did not consent to being sodomized, and that should be a punishable offense. And yes, that is sexist. I will not say that women in rap videos that are portrayed in that way, is it inherently sexist? Grounds for argument can be made against that. But what role do men and women play in that together? Men like to see the female form in scantily clad clothing, and I'm actually going to scientifically talk about why that happens based on science and psychology. What goes into that? And women have the right to consent to being in whatever clothing they want to and participating in whatever kind of action they want to. So if they want to twerk in front of a man, if they want to strip in front of a man, if they want to give a man a lap dance, if they want to have a man pour champagne on their breasts, if they want to have a man throw money at their face, they want to have a man committing all kinds of manner of sexual acts against, not against them, but with them, participating with it. What I'm trying to say is they're willing participants in it. So at some point there becomes an accountability on both sides of the issue. Now, is it men's fault that this women that's happening to women? I think again we have to take accountability for the fact that maybe we let our emotions or our penises control our minds a little more than our higher cognitive functions. We are governed by those biological needs and urges to procreate more so than we are able to objectively reason that, hey, this is probably not the best thing for me to do. I am sure that had Nellie's mom saw what he was doing to these women, that she'd probably disappointed in him and say, you probably shouldn't have done that. That wasn't right for you to do. I'm really disappointed in your actions. And he actually came out and apologized and said, I didn't mean to offend anybody, but you got to understand this is a music video, and this was actually all these women were paid. It was consensual, and it was actually not even my idea. It was this stripper's idea, or this woman's idea, to have her butt crack swiped in this card. Again, it's a case by case issue, and I think it goes on both sides. I don't know if I would call it sexist, because then you would have to say if it is sexist, then it's women perpetuating sexism against themselves or reinforcing the objectification, and it's men reinforcing it. So it becomes men and women reinforcing this behavior together. That's my opinion on rap videos and how the over-sexualization or objectification of women occurs in these videos. It's consensual. It takes two to tango, so to speak. Men definitely play a role in that, and so do women. So I hope did that answer your question, Tron? Did you feel like I adequately expressed my opinion? Do you find that reasonable?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I appreciate hearing your views on that, and yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying. I 100% agree.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being our first caller. This is a big deal for us. This is our first time we had, and this has really been really fun, and I love doing this. So thank you so much for calling. We're gonna, unless you have any further questions, we'll go ahead and move you down to the general chat where you think you need to either stay and discuss, or you can leave. You can leave and just participate in chat if you so wish.
Yeah, that sums it up for me. Thanks, man.
All right, thanks, Tron. Yeah. If you haven't dropped a follow, man, drop a follow. I'd love to see you around in the community, man. I'd love to talk with you more. Okay, do we have any, did Random want to hop in? Did we have two calls? I wasn't sure if it was just one or if it was two.
I'm not sure.
Okay, we'll wait. I'll continue on with the podcast. If we have another call, we'll take another call. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put myself on mute. Thanks, Toe.
Yep, you're welcome.
All right, guys, that was pretty cool. I feel like we're implementing the radio aspect of the call-in feature on Discord in a good way. I wish we had more people in here to discuss the topic. So, Tron, thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate that. Sedpos, I saw you in here. I wanted to say hello. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Green, what's up, dude? Yeah, I know. Yeah, I got Venus. Yeah, what's up that? So, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and. Oh, you want to ask a question, Random? You want to pop in? Yeah, it looks like we have another caller. Okay, so I'll go ahead and put my headphones back on and bring up Discord again. And I'll take myself off mute. So I'm ready when you are.